Hello everyone, I am the Balance Keeper, and welcome back to Pokemon Violet. In the last episode, we defeated the Rukba Squad. Boss, specifically. And we got a little bit more insight into what Team Star's history actually is. Something that Clive, quote unquote, wink wink wonk wonk, didn't even know. Which is just, like, I like the story of this game. It's not, I don't absolutely love it, but it's like a nice change from like the usual, like, oh, you need to do like the gyms and then the other thingy and then that's it. That's all you get. So then it kind of ends up being just like empty. Oh, I'm doing this out of order. Whoopsie. I need to go over here to this guy. Boop. Where can I fast travel to? Back to here. I was closer. So I am sad that some, I don't even know what I can call them, but just someone who didn't understand the actual consequences of just putting out a game that wasn't actually finished. Because, like, this is basically an early access game, but with the guise of a full release game and the price of one. And no one's really been, like, mad about it. Yet with indie game developers, people always crap on their stuff whenever there's, like, stock assets or anything like that. Or bugs or whatever. And same thing with, what was it called? Cyberpunk 2077. People really crapped on that. Yet, and I get it, because there was infinitely more problems there. But it's just the fact that this game is sort of playable, but there's still a lot of like glitches and stuff that can end up being so game breaking that you literally have to close the game, losing any progress since you last saved, which has happened to me once where I glitched through a cave wall, could not get out, and had to restart. Is this a cutscene or did it? It's a cutscene. Okay, cool. Where in the heck did you put me? This game does weird stuff constantly. Hey there, BK. So rumor has it the false dragon titan lurks somewhere in this lake, yeah? But not a single person's ever caught a glimpse of it. Must be some kind of truly terrifying beast. But how are we supposed to search for a thing when we don't even know what it looks like? Sure, it would be handy if we just ran around crying, I am the Titan! Or if it just ran around crying, I am the Titan or something. If only, right? The main problem I have is that because this is Pokemon and everyone loves it constantly, no matter what, people never think about, like, if companies see that massive IPs like Pokemon can put out not a half finished game per se. It is finished enough to the point where it is playable to completion, but it's still like there's still a lot that needed to be rounded off and cleaned up quite a bit. So like the lag spikes, the random, like I've had it quite a few times. I don't think it was during this, but it was like on Scarlet, where there would be like a full-on pause, like a massive lag spike. And it's quite frustrating when they kind of do things that are just actively against the player, like basically Dark Souls style. Like, Pokemon isn't Dark Souls. It shouldn't ever try to be Dark Souls in any way, shape, or form. Because it's Pokemon. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be playable. It's supposed to be kid-friendly. But then they released these games. I'm pretty sure there was nothing ever saying anything about anything being wrong. And now we have to deal with the whole fact of because like if back to what I was saying before is like if a bunch of game development companies are seeing massive IPs like Pokemon be able to like put out a $60 game, multiple $60 games that aren't even like fully like cleaned up and like made so that it's like a really fun, easy, like sane play experience for so much money, they'll start doing it too. And because no one's like yelling at Nintendo to fix this or Game Freak to fix this, like this game has been out for over a year now. They've had time to clean it up and make it better, but they really haven't. Like they've added stuff, cool stuff that makes like EV training and IV training and whatnot way easier, which is nice. But that still doesn't excuse the performance problems. They've had multiple decades of experience of game designing, and at least we'll count Sword and Shield as one, Legends Arceus as another, so like at least 2 or 3 different full 3D games on the Nintendo Switch console to get used to coding specifically for its hardware. And then they put out this, and its actual performance is far worse than any of the other games. It's just sad. It really is just sad and disappointing. And I had full my train just crashed in my head. Like I had full like trust that like, oh, it's a Pokemon game. It's not gonna be like Cyberpunk 2077-esque of bad, which it's not, and I'm glad. But it's still just like it's lower frame rate. You can tell that there's a lot of things that they've done to try and make it less of a frame hogging game. And it presumably worked, but it didn't do enough to where someone with sensitive eyes couldn't tell that the game isn't running at 60 FPS. And it's just, if I had known that it was going to be like this, I would not have bought the double pack. I would not have bought this game at all until it was fully fleshed out and fixed, if ever. But I bought it digital because I was just like, oh, like there's no way it's going to be like extremely buggy or glitchy or have performance problems, because they've done this before. They've like done like the wild area. They've done freaking the entirety of Legends Arceus, where massive areas, like multiple smaller ones, but still like big open world areas. They've done, I don't know, Breath of the freaking Wild. They've done Tears of the Kingdom. Like they have experience making full 3D landscapes. And then it gets to this game, and it kind of feels as if they just removed everyone from the Pokemon team and replaced them with novices, to be honest. It's just, I don't hate the game. I'm truly just disappointed in Nintendo for not being like, this isn't up to our quality. Let's push back the release date. There could have been like money problems, but if they were like, if like they needed to have a budgeter, or I guess just a money tracker, or whatever that's actual profession's called, basically, so that they could be like, okay, are we close to our budget? Do we need to like change priorities? Because then they could have prioritized the main game without the with some terra stylization, but no like terra caves or anything like that, to like until like they've done like a bunch of updates to like fully optimize the code and all of that, so that the game can run perfectly well even after they add the terra caves, even after they add the DLC, etc. But it's just frustrating for me to go from like just any other game that's not this one, and then come back here. Yes, there are improvements. Yes, there's things that are better for the player, but then there's the performance problems. There's the bugs. There's the glitches that are pretty much game breaking, to the point where you have to literally close the game in order to quote unquote fix it. Meaning that if you don't have autosave on, for obvious reasons, or you don't save every like 5 seconds, you could end up losing like a lot of progress, and that sucks. I just wish that Game Freak and or Nintendo cared enough about the player base to have just pushed back the release date, so they could have gone full bore on like fixing the performance problems, or at least all of the bugs and most of the bugs and glitches. Not all of them. You can't always fix every bug and glitch, but at least the majority of the ones that people are dealing with. And if it was a money problem, I'd understand if it was like an indie game developing person or group, not a massive corporation like Nintendo. And yes, they are massive. They have Nintendo of America and the original Nintendo in Japan. So yes, they are definitely massive. As well as Game Freak in, I believe, Osaka, Japan. They're not small companies. They should definitely have the budget. I'm just that classic parent of like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And I really am just disappointed. I wish that they would have just put more love into this game. I hope that if they do end up releasing another game, either late 24 or 2024 or late or like middle of like 25, that it's going to end up being similar to like Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, where it's going to be like an older game reimagined into a better into like the Switch, and having it be looking a lot better, more clean, but still have that same like 2.5D-ish feel. I honestly hope that they'll combine like Black version 1 and Black version 2 into one game. And same with the White version 1 and White version 2. I don't know if that's going to be next on their list, or if that's like on a couple years from now type of timeline, because they're wanting to fix a lot of stuff on this game and the DLC maybe. I don't know. I haven't like dived into the full DLC, but I've like done some on Scarlet. But I just hope that they will start apologizing, or just something to show like, hey, this is our thought process of just leaving the release date as it was and releasing it like this. Because I don't think any of their promotional material said anything about this being an early release, and I'm pretty sure that would be considered false advertising, which I believe is indeed illegal in America, at least. And I do feel scammed in a way, because I wasn't expecting anything like this to come out of a Pokemon game. Like, and I do know that I can just not play them, but I didn't know this ahead of time, so I'm now stuck in the whatever that thing is, where it's like you've paid for something, so now you have to make it worth it type of bullcrapness. And I just hope that something from them will hopefully actually make up for it. Not for me, because I'm literally a nobody. Absolutely no one on this planet gives a fuck about me. That's just my life. I don't care about saying that. But I just hope for the community of Pokemon fans that exists. It's a massive community. I hope that for them, for their sake, that Nintendo and Game Freak just do something different to basically be like, hey, here's something that we've never thought about doing before, but we decided to do it because we wanted to apologize for how this turned out. Or just something. Because that would show that they do actually care about the entirety of the fan base. This was a 16-minute rant. Jeez. I could definitely go longer, because just I'm sad, basically. I'm disappointed in Nintendo, and I'm just really sad that they just made, or I guess technically not Nintendo, because Nintendo didn't directly make it, but it was in collaboration with Nintendo, I guess is technically the correct legal terminology or whatever. But Game Freak made a lot of decisions, and it's just not great. It's fun. There's a lot of cute new Pokemon. There's a bunch of epic Pokemon that are added. And it's just, I don't know what to say, really. Just of why I still play this. It's just, I wanted to experience this new game, and now I'm kind of just like, well, I paid for it. I don't want it to just burn a hole on my Switch, so I might as well just deal with it. But like, after this, I doubt I'm going to get even any views on this video, so I'll just be honest. If I do eventually end up getting lucky and start having people watch my videos on a regular basis to the point where I can get sponsorships or whatever, I will probably hesitate greatly before taking one from Nintendo, because either someone from their game or from their not their game, from like either someone from Nintendo, like whoever's in charge of like the game, like given the green light, gave one too fast and didn't give the hey, let's push back the release date because this needs a little bit better performance and cleaning up the bugs and stuff before it gets launched. Would have been a lot better of a look for Nintendo, to be honest. And like, I understand if maybe they were scared of like how people would react to a pushback of a game, like a release date being pushed back some. It is terrifying, and I understand that. Just logically, not from experience, but I do understand why someone would be scared about being like, hey, we need to make the release date like a couple months later than it was originally scheduled because there's a lot of performance problems. Like, it's better to just do it and show yourself and your company how good communities can really be. Because yes, humans, not the best species. There's a lot of dumbass humans on the planet. I know from experience. 2 of them are my parents, and it's disappointing as fuck. It's not even disappointing. I would love to just make it so that I don't have parents. It's just legally. They're so not great. But communities can be far better than you would expect. So if anyone from Nintendo is watching this, anyone from Game Freak, next time, if something like this ends up happening, where the game's not performing well on launch hardware, on hardware that it will be launched to work on solely, just swallow your pride and say, hey, we're going to need to push back the launch date so that we can iron out these problems. Because it will give you a better launch. You will be able to see, honestly, how hopefully the community will act as it should, which is like, oh yeah, that's fine. Because that shows like, hey, we would rather wait a couple more months, even maybe half a year or a full year, for the bugs and glitches to be ironed out as possible, and for it to perform far better as a like on the hardware, than get it now and be angry that it's a piece of crap, or however you think of it to be. I do understand that like quite a few people have played the like PAL world and have like solely played PAL world, then they played this game and they're like, oh, it's not as bad. And it's like, yeah, it's not as bad. And there's like a lot of small things. Performance is a medium-sized thing. So I'd say that's probably more important than the smaller things. But there's a certain point where when there's so many small things that is wrong with the game, it starts to be more cumbersome. It's not like, oh, I'm holding a penny. It's more of like, oh, I'm holding a massive snapping turtle that's about to snap off my neck kind of feeling. And I do kind of wish that I just didn't buy these games and I like waited for other people to have bought them and messed up instead of me doing it and then finding out like, oh, I shouldn't have. Whoops. I just, like at this point, I know that if people watch this video, they're going to be assholes. They're going to be like, oh, how dare you hate a Pokemon game? Again, if you're watching this long, haters, sup. I've never said I hated this game. Like, I really do like a lot of the story. There's some parts where it's like, obviously, like the gym stuff is like constant. It's been a thing since basically the beginning. It's not always what it is, but it's like always like the stereotypical like, oh, Pokemon games, oh, you have to do all the gyms. And that's normal. Like that's basic, basically. But then they added in this game the Titans where there's like special herbs and stuff. Then there's like the like whole of Team Star, which is cool. With Team Star, the performance of the only bringing 3 Pokemon in and all that isn't too great, but the uniqueness in it is wonderful. Because it's like, it's sort of like a triple battle in a way, but without the actual battling, because it's just auto battle. You throw out a Pokemon and then they'll battle on their own. And then, like, Path of Legends is super cool. They should probably fix a lot of the balancing issues with how the Herba Mystica is the only way to make... Like, you need to use one Herba Mystica to get a level 2. And you pretty much always will need to use two Herba Mystica to get to level 3 of anything. Yet, with the, like, for example, with the raids, allegedly, I don't know if this is actually true because I can't dig into the code to find out. But allegedly, raid power level 3 only gets you like 3 more like draws of items. It doesn't give you like 3 more full lists. It gives you like just 3 more items and then it's a random amount, which is not great for using 2 Herba Mystica, which is the only way to get level 3, which is fair. Like, level 3 being something where it's like, ooh, it's like super duper amazing, is better when it's actually amazing. So it's like you kind of have to find the balance of like, do you make level 3 in this sense of like raid power level 3? Do you make it so that it gives like 9 draws or something? Or do you make it so that those types of Mystica, Herba Mystica, that are used for that mainly, because there's like different combinations and you get different powers and blah, 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 blah. Do you make those Herba Mystica that are specifically able, for that specific combination, like more common than the other ones, so that it kind of like evens itself out? Or do you just like do some other thing that I can't think of off the top of my head right now? There's a lot of different things that can be done. I am not a developer for them, so I don't know what other things could be done that make sense. Hopefully, a lot of these things will get fixed, but given that this game is, I think, literally over a year old, because I think it was like November of 22 is when it was released, and now it's 2024. Ugh. Now that was... Yeah, it's like at this point I'm pretty much like, they might be going the route of Lego games where they just put out the game, maybe add content, but don't fix anything. So hopefully they'll prove me wrong on that. Otherwise, well, I don't know. Well, I know what to call this video. I cannot believe I ranted for an entire video. Jeez. Well, if anyone ever watches this, those are basically just my thoughts. Well, it's basically a summarized version, because my full thoughts are maybe partially or different or similar or whatever. Even I don't know, which sucks. That's just how mangled my brain is in my old age of 22. It's not that old, I promise. I am 22. I'm fine with saying that I'm an adult. And it's my life is just a struggle. Life in general is a struggle. Either way, you don't have to like the video. You don't have to like the video. I'm not even gonna say for you to. Just help me out and subscribe and share my videos with your friends and stuff to help me get seen, because YouTube does not care about new content creators, and that's the truth. So I pretty much need, if anyone ever sees this, please just share and stuff. It not only will help me out on the YouTube side, but it'll also help me out getting views and stuff and subscribers mentally. It'll help me out a lot because it sucks using a lot of time making these videos, which is fun. I do like it, but it sucks because it feels like I'm wasting my time and I'm just and a bunch of other stuff. I won't rant again. And they'll turn this into a 1-hour video and that'll suck to edit. But at this point, if you've watched this long, I hope at some point in the past or in the present you'll subscribe. And yeah, this was a rant by the Balance Keeper. I hope you at least minusculely tolerated it. See ya.